Okay, this is our lesson on perimeter, and we're going to look at how to work out the perimeter of a number of different simple shapes. So the first shape we're going to look at is the triangle. So I want you to copy that triangle down under the heading perimeter, and let's put in some numbers here. So let's say that this is, let me see, we'll make this 30 centimeters, and this is 20 centimeters. And this is 42 centimeters. So to work out the perimeter of this shape, all you have to be able to do is imagine that you are starting at one point on the shape and you are measuring the distance around the outside of the shape. So as if you were walking around the shape. So that's 42 centimeters plus 20 centimeters plus 30 centimeters. So to work out the perimeter of this shape, perimeter P equals 42 plus 20 plus 30. And so the perimeter of this shape would be 42 plus 50, which equals 92, and the units we're looking at is centimetres, so the answer is 92 centimetres. So the total distance around the outside of this shape is 92 centimetres, and that is the perimeter of that shape. So if you can now copy that down, pause the video if you need to, before we go on to the next example. Okay, this next example, let's put in some numbers, and I'm going to label our sides. This is 14 meters, this is 13 meters, this is 22 meters, and this side here is 7 meters. So we know this side, and we know this side, and we know this side, and we know this side. Now if we have to work out the perimeter, we need to once again imagine that we're walking around the shape. So pick any starting point you like on one of the corners. So we'll start here, for example. So to walk around the shape would be 13 meters, then 7 meters. Oh, now hang on, we don't know that length, do we? So I'm going to call that A. There's a length we don't know. Let's just label that at the moment. So it's some sort of length we can't work out just yet. We'll keep going with our walk. So far I've started from there, 13 and 7 plus some unknown amount. Let's keep going. And what do you know? There's another side that we don't know. Let's call that one B. We'll keep going for a little walk along here. And this side is 22, and then back to the start, 14. So to work out the total perimeter around this shape, we need to be able to work out what these missing sides are. And what you need to do is think about the other sides and the shape, because we can actually work out these sides. If you imagine, think about this side here. I'll use my ruler, I think. So this side here, that's 22 metres from there to there. It's 22 metres. Now, you might notice that from there to there, I'll just move that dot, so that distance from there to there is the same distance as from here to here. So from here, I'll try that again, from here to here, that's also 22 metres. Now, this distance here, distance A, that distance there, and that distance there add up to that distance from there, from here to here. So if I imagine that distance and then that distance together, that side and that side add up to the full length there, which is 22 metres. So this side here, which we know is 13, plus this side here, which is A, must add up to 22. So that means that A, 13 plus something is 22, so that missing amount must be 9. So that distance A is 9 metres. Now, I'm sorry about my diagram, it's not to scale. Obviously, that should be longer than... Oh no, that's all right, that's not too bad. So A is 9 metres. B, we can do the same thing. See if you can work out what B is. Pause the video and have a go. Okay, so B, using these lengths, we might see that the distance B, that distance from there to there, plus this distance from here to here, so that distance plus that distance is the same as this whole side here. So B plus 7, this side plus 7 must equal 14. So B plus 7 must equal 14 metres. So what plus 7 equals 14? Well, the answer is 7. So B must equal 7. And so now we can go around and actually work out the perimeter. So the final perimeter is going to be perimeter equals 13 plus 7 plus 9 plus 7 again plus 22 plus 14. And so if we add those all up together, 13 plus 7 is 20, 29, 36, 58, 68, 72. So I think that's right. It adds up to 72 metres, which is the distance around the outside. Okay, our next example is a circle. Now, a circle is quite special because we actually calculate the perimeter of a circle. And by the way, when we're talking about a circle, the perimeter of a circle is called the circumference. So the perimeter of a circle we call the circumference of the circle. And to calculate the circumference of the circle, there's a formula. And the formula is simply 2 times 3.14 times the radius of that circle. So let's make this a bit quicker to write, make it a bit simpler. This number is a very special number. It's a number you're going to hear a lot more about. It's the number pi. And we represent pi as the Greek letter that looks like that. So that symbol pi actually has the value, well, it has an approximate value of 3.14. It actually is a very special number, and this decimal goes on forever and never repeats itself. So it's a non-recurring, never-ending decimal. And so you can never ever write down the exact value of pi other than to just write down its symbol. But to approximate it, to do this 2 decimal places, it's 3.14. R is the radius of the circle. That's the radius. And the radius of the circle, radius of any circle, is simply the distance from the center to the circumference, to the perimeter. So that distance there is called the radius. That's called the radius of the circle. So let's say we had a circle which had a radius of 11 millimeters. So the radius is 11 millimeters. How are we going to work out the circumference? Well, we're going to use this formula. So I'll just simplify the formula first. So the circumference of any circle is equal to 2. Now in algebra, remember, we don't need to worry about the time. So 2 times pi times r. 2 pi r is the formula for the circumference of a circle. So in this case, the circumference of our circle will be 2 multiplied by pi. Now remember, we're going to approximate pi as 3.14. So that's 2 times 3.14 times the radius of the circle. And in this case, the radius of the circle is 11 millimeters. So I'll just write 11 in there. So to work that out, we've got 2 times 3.14 times 11, and that comes up to approximately 69 or 69.08. So that equals 69.08. Because our radius is in millimeters, our circumference will be in millimeters. So that means that the distance around the outside, if I started here and walked around the outside of my circle like that, right around, kept on going right around, then I would walk a distance of 69.08 millimeters. That's the circumference of that circle. Okay, our final example we're going to do in this video is this one. So this is half a circle. So remember from our previous example, the circumference of a circle, which is the whole way around a circle, circumference of a circle equals 2 times pi times the radius of the circle, which is r. Now, this is in fact half a circle, which is called a semicircle. So there is the actual centre of the circle, and you can hopefully just imagine that there's like another half of a circle there, which is not actually there, but we'll just draw it in just to show us it's part of a full circle. But we want the circumference, we want the perimeter of this shape, which means we're going to start, say here, I'm going to walk around the shape like this. But we also, because it's a half circle, we also need to walk down this straight edge of the circle. So the perimeter of a semicircle is this curved bit, the distance of that curved bit plus the straight edge. So let's put a couple of numbers in here. Let's say that the diameter, which is the distance from here to here, in other words, the full distance through the middle, from one side to the other, going through the middle, the diameter of this circle equals 20 centimetres. So that means from here to here is 20 centimetres. Well, if the diameter is 20, I wonder what the distance here is. What's the radius? In other words, from the centre to there, what would the radius be? If the full distance there is 20, well, in this case, the radius will be half of that. So the radius is always half the diameter. So the radius, in this case, is going to equal 10 centimetres. So remember, the radius is always half of the diameter. Now, we can now work out the perimeter of this shape, because what we need to do, we need to work out the perimeter or the circumference of half the circle, and then we need to add in this straight edge here. So to work out the circumference of the half circle, this part here, what we could do is pretend it was a full circle like that, and then you just work out what it would be for the full circle and then halve it, because it's only half a circle. But then we have to remember to add the straight edge in. So the perimeter of this shape, we'll break it into two parts. So we'll do this part first. So we'll do the red bit, and you can colour that in your diagram. So it's a different colour. So we're going to do that part first. And we'll call that part A. And then the other part, which will make, I think, purple, this distance here, we'll call that length B. So we're going to work out length A first, and then we're going to add B to it, and that will be the diameter of that semicircle. So let's work out A first. So the distance A, to work out distance A, or perimeter of A, I'm going to work out A first. Remember we said it's only half of the circle. So if we worked out the perimeter or the circumference of the full circle and divided it by 2, that would give us that distance around half of the circle. So it's going to equal 2 pi r, which is the distance, which is the circumference of a full circle, 2 pi times r, but we're going to halve it. We're going to divide it by 2 because we only want half of that. So we're going to divide that by 2 because we want half the circle. And guess what? Those twos cancel. And so length A is going to be pi times r. And pi is 3.14. And we're going to times that by the radius. Now remember, we said the diameter was 20 from there to there is 20, so the radius is 10. So multiplying that by 10. So that's going to equal 3.14 times 10, which is 31.4 centimetres. We're dealing in centimetres, so the answer is in centimetres. So that's the red section. So we now know that distance A from there to there is going to equal 31.4 centimetres. And we know that this blue length here is simply the distance across the full circle, which is the diameter, which is 20 centimetres. So that distance there is 20 centimetres. So the full distance around this circle is going to be 31.4 plus 20. So the perimeter of this shape, P for perimeter, is going to equal length or distance A, which is 31.4, plus the straight edge, which is 20. And so that's going to equal 51.4 centimetres. Okay, in the next example, we're going to look, in the next video, I beg your pardon, we're going to look at a few more complicated examples. Okay? Thank you.